So your 401k is about to become a playground for billionaires, and guess who's the toy? So Trump is about to sign an EO that will allow us to invest in the private market with our 401k. It's like private equity, crypto, even gold, right? It sounds fancy, but it's kind of risky. See, normally your 401k is in stocks and bonds. Those are easy to sell at any time. But private equity is a liquid, meaning if the market dips so you need cash, you can't just pull your money out. So imagine your money locked away for years. Private market investments charge way higher fees. Think 2% annual plus 20% of your profit. That eats into your savings, so even if you earn big, you still gonna pay big in fees. Now, your public stocks, they get priced daily, but your private stocks, not so much. They're opaque because you're mostly trusting the fund's inner numbers. That could mean overvaluing assets or even hidden underperformance. So the big equity firms are going to likely own the best opportunities, and we get the scrap. Real investors might end up paying more for worse deals than the institution. Yeah, so it could feel like a chance for bigger returns. However, but you're basically giving up flexibility, transparency, and you're going to pay more, while rich people still get all the perks. It is another move that favors Wall Street, not Main Street.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Miss Oba. How was your day? I hope you all slept well. Yeah, I want to thank you for engaging yourselves in my videos. Thank you very much. I so much appreciate. So guys, today we'll be talking about our retirement money. Did you know that they are coming for our retirement money? Let's talk about it.
So we have to keep worrying about our 401k plans because Donald Trump just signed another executive order allowing private equity firms, allowing actually 401k managers to invest in private equity firms. Why do you need to worry about this, and why are financial advisors sounding the big alarms? Well, first of all, private equities are investments made in not publicly traded companies. Okay, and they are generally owned by a small group of investors, which usually include the owners, think family ownership of these companies. Okay, think of all the multimillionaire and billionaire owners of companies that are not publicly traded that donated to Donald Trump to help buy the White House. Okay, we're talking about these people. They want access to our $12 trillion 401k market. When I say $12 trillion, that's our money in there being invested so that we can retire. Why have they been fighting the last 3 months? Not really fighting, doing a lot of lobbying with Republican politicians, whining and dining them and so forth to urge Donald Trump to sign this executive order, because these private equities made bank during COVID. They gobbled up all kinds of other companies that were struggling. Well, here we are today. The economy is nosediving and they're being impacted. So they want to save themselves and actually make money off of your investments and my investments by accessing our money in our 401ks. The other reason this is sounding the alarm, I'm just going to read this verbatim, because private equity investment are often concentrated in a small number of portfolio companies. Trump donor-owned companies are less liquid than stocks and bonds and carry valuations that can be difficult to measure day to day. Of course, you're counting on these MAGA-owned companies to be forthright with their company's profits. Anyway, and because private equity funds in general don't beat investments in stocks. So what this means is whoever your investment company is, whoever's managing your 401k, I just got to repeat again, you got to figure out some way to find out if they are MAGA supporters, because they are going to break all kinds of regulations and you won't know it. Nobody will know it. And they're going to support MAGA billionaires, just MAGA evangelicals, by moving your money around into their favored companies. They're not supposed to do that. But you gotta figure out if you've got a MAGA supporting financial planner, and you gotta move.
If you have a 401k or any kind of retirement plan, you need to hear this. Donald Trump just signed an executive order that could change what's inside your retirement account, and not in your favor. So basically right now, most of your retirement savings sit in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. But under this new order, your 401k could start holding alternative assets. It sounds fancy, right? But here's what that actually means. Private equity, which is risky, high-fee investments usually reserved for the ultra-wealthy. You got real estate deals that you can't just sell quickly. You got commodities like oil or gold, even digital assets like crypto. And here's the kicker. These are the same kind of investments that lock up your money for years and charge sky-high fees win or lose. You know how the rich can afford to take big risks? Because they've already got the millions in the bank. That's not us. We can't gamble with our money that we've been working 20 and 30 years to save for retirement. But this order makes it easier for Wall Street to dip into your nest egg and harder for us to hold them accountable if things go bad. They're even pushing to limit lawsuits against the companies that manage your retirement. So if a risky deal blows up, you take the hit and not them. And let's just be real for a second. This isn't about democratizing investing. This is about opening up a $7 trillion pool of American retirement savings to private equity firms, hedge funds, and political donors who are chomping at a bit for your money. They've been locked out for years, and now they're getting the keys thanks to the Trump administration. Imagine logging into your 401k in 10 years and finding out that part of your retirement was sunk into a real estate deal you never even heard of, or a private company that went bankrupt. You can't even sell it to get your money back. That's what's on the table. And the worst part, most people won't even know it happened until it's too late. So here's what you do. Watch your plan updates. Look for words like alternative assets, private equity, or real estate. Ask your HR or plan administrator if they're adding these investments. They're gambling with our retirement. And if we don't pay attention, we're the ones that will lose the game.
Look, when you hear someone says they are coming for your retirement money, your first thought might be scammers, frauders, or bad investments. And yeah, those things exist. But in America, the real threat is much bigger, much organized, and far more legal. We are talking about politicians gutting social security, corporations raiding pension fund, Wall Street firms charging insane fees to manage your money while they gamble it on risky bets.
Okay, so I know everybody thinks that it's okay to govern by executive order these days under Trump, but I just wanted to come on to talk briefly about your 401ks and private equity. I'll probably do another one on 401ks and cryptocurrency because that's a different animal. But I just wanted to clarify some things that I think seeing a lot of be scared, be afraid videos out there. And I think it from somebody who's actually worked in the industry for 35 years, but I'm a banker, retired, but worked in wealth management and trust and fiduciary pretty much my entire banking career. So I actually have some experience on this. All right, so right now, if you have a pension plan through your employer was already investing in private equity. It's their money, they're holding it for you, so you don't really have a say-so on what they invested in, but they are looking for returns so they can have the money that they promised to you for your pension plan. Now, over the years, pension plans have gone by the wayside and employers aren't offering new employees for pension plans. Are saying you need to invest in an IRA or a 401k, and we'll incentivize you by matching your contributions up to a certain percent. So that's how it's mostly working today. So I'm going to set aside pensions, but they were already invested in private equity. And so now we have all seen the executive order from Trump touting that, you should be able to invest in private equity. And here's the thing, you've already been able to do it, and your 401ks have already been able to do it. So I want to say in the first Trump administration, he had the Department of Labor issue a letter and ask whether allowing plan administrators, which are your employers, to invest in private equity for their defined contribution plans? And would that be a violation of ERISA, which is a law that governs employee retirement plans? There's also other regulations called Reg 9 that governs the fiduciary activities of national banks. So the two of those two together work to ensure that your employer is operating in your best interest, and that they're not speculative with your money, because this is your it's not only your retirement money, but this is money that's coming out of your payroll. So it's your wages that are being deferred into a 401k plan, and they may match it with their own money, but it's your money. So they have a duty to you to act in your best interest. I hope that makes sense. So what Trump was asking in the first administration does this activity for private equity investments in a 401k, does it violate ERISA? And the reason is private equity is a little bit more risky. You don't want to do this when you're close to retirement, because private equity investments kind of tie up your money for a long time. You can't trade them every day. You can't trade them like mutual funds at the end of the day based on net asset value. You can't trade like exchange traded funds. Usually what happens is you can, if you know what you're doing, you can invest in a private equity company, or you can invest in a private equity fund. Either way, they are more riskier investments. And so the opinion was allowing your plan administrators to do more private equity, does it violate ERISA? So that's what happened. So when Biden came in, he asked the Department of Labor again, and they basically took a more conservative approach. So his administration said, okay, it's not a violation. And Biden's administration asked the same question. Is it a violation? And they didn't necessarily say it was a violation, but they just didn't recommend it, right? Because of its risk. So now what Trump is asking the Department of Labor to do is to state again, is it okay? And he's doing that through his executive order. So let's see, what else do I want to say about this? So that's actually where we are right now. It's not like there's a law. It's just whether or not you're going to be able to sue your employer if they invest your funds in private equity and they've lost the money, and you can prove that they weren't acting in your best interest. They breached their fiduciary duty. What's important to understand is that the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, has a law that talks about when you have, let's say, for example, mutual funds within a 401k, that most of the assets have to be liquid, that you cannot hold any more than 15% of a fund in illiquid assets, and private equity would be considered illiquid because you just can't get to it easily. They lock your funds up for a while, 5-10 years, whatever. So most mutual funds, and that's a majority, even exchange traded funds where you are kind of trading on your own in a brokerage account, or if you have a custodial account with Empower or Fidelity through your employer, those mutual funds can't really hold a lot of private equity. And most people are not savvy enough to try to do these cryptocurrency and private equity investments. Most people are doing mutual funds, and maybe if you're retirement focused, you've got some kind of retirement fund where the assets held in that fund are more conservative, right? So it would not be a good fund management move to start arbitrarily investing in private equity, but it's something to keep your eye out for. So I know there's a lot of doomsday videos going around, but for those of us who know what's really going on, I just kind of wanted to share that with you, so that if you do have a 401k, it's not, you kind of should be more concerned about Trump's tariff talks, and because that actually affects the bond market and the stock market more so than additions to investment types that you can invest in. So I hope that helps. Okay, thanks.
The truth is, retirement security shouldn't be a privilege for the rich. It's a human right. That means defending social securities, fighting for universal pensions, and making sure the money we all worked for isn't siphoned away into CEO bonuses. If you are tired of hearing, we can't afford it, why billionaires buy yachts the size of apartment buildings, smash that like button, share this video, and let's start demanding an economy that works for us all.